Long ago, my dad was enjoying a nice evening of fishing on the mighty Ohio River. He hadn't had a lot of luck until he decided it was time for one last cast before he would pack up and go home. That last cast would change his life and create life for me and my little brother. So my dad casts his lure into the water and reels in this odd-looking fish, a fish like he had never seen before. My dad nearly jumped out of the boat as the fish started to speak, saying, "Set me free, and I will grant you any wish. Set me free, and I will grant you any wish." Upon gathering himself, Dad agreed and said to the fish, "I want a child for me and my wife." "Set me free, and I will grant you any wish," the fish said again. Dad did just as the fish asked and released him back into the water. As the fish was swimming away, he said, "Catch one more fish and take it home and feed your wife." Dad caught one more fish on his next cast and rushed it home to feed my mom, the dog, and the horse. Speed forward 9 months, and this is where my twin brother and I come into the picture, along with our twin dogs, twin horses. My brother and I were inseparable growing up. We did everything together. We hunted, fished, camped out, and all the stuff two young country boys do. We had a great life, a wonderful family, did the four of us. When I was 18 years old, I decided it was time to go out into the world and find my wife. I gave James, my little brother, a mason jar of moonshine and said to him, "Brother, as long as this shine stays clear, I am well. If it ever turns blood red, I need you." James agreed to keep the moonshine close at all times. I said goodbyes to my mom and dad, and I set out on my journey with the eldest horse and the eldest dog. I crossed the river into Indiana and came upon a farmer in distress. He had lost his herd of cattle. He said to me, "Return them here and you shall have my daughter's hand in marriage." I have the best dog and the best horse in the country. This will be easy, I thought to myself. With that, I set out in search of the farmer's cattle so I could claim my prize of his daughter. The cattle had wandered far off, 3 counties over to be exact. With ease, I herded them back to the farmer, but was in shock when I arrived. The town drunk had stolen a herd to give to the farmer and was trying to get what was rightfully mine, the farmer's daughter. They were about to marry before I said to the farmer, "Isn't it strange that the drunk's herd only has 25 head when you clearly stated that your herd has 27 head? The herd I have brought you has 27. The farmer, realizing he had made a mistake, cast the drunk into jail. Oh, by the way, the farmer was also the county sheriff. I could now have what was mine. I married the farmer's daughter. We lived a great, loving life together, but my adventurous side eventually took over, and I said to my wife, "Honey, I'm leaving you for a short period. I'm going on a hunting adventure in the forest of no return." "No, don't go," she cried out. "I shall return," I confidently told her as I headed out the door. Upon entering the forest of no return, I soon found out where it got its name. There was a pack of wolves, not just any wolves, giant wolves that walked and talked like humans, and they took me captive in their dungeon cave. This made the moonshine I had given James turn blood red, and he immediately jumped into action. He grabbed his long knife, saddled up his horse, and set out with his dog to rescue me. He rode up to the farm and encountered my wife, who said to him, "At last you returned." James, knowing that she thought it was me, didn't want to tell her otherwise, so that night he slept in bed with her. He left early the next morning and soon found a pack of human wolves in the forest of no return. They tried to speak to him, but he already knew what had happened. He slaughtered each and every one of them, spraying their blood all over me. James released me from the cave, and we set out back to the farm. On our way home, we were telling each other stories about life since I had left home. He told me how he had watched a mason jar of moonshine every day. All was peaceful on our reuniting trip home until he said to me, "I was tired on my journey to rescue you, and I didn't want your wife to see you were in trouble, so I slept in bed with her." Very angered by this, I grabbed his knife, cut off his head, and rushed home to find my wife. So joyed to see each other, she says to me, "You are much like yourself now, not like the last time you slept in bed with your long knife between us." Saddened by knowing I had wrongfully killed James, I rushed back to his body. Luckily, I still had the magic wolf blood all over me and rubbed it on his wound and brought him back to life. We returned to the farm and live happily to this day.